Welcome to CalculAID. CalculAID is an online free calculator that helps you calculate your salary based on your unique work arrangement. This is a detailed guide on how to use CalculAID. This is the start page. Click Start. Here you will see a list of instructions. It is important that you read and understand them all, so allow us to explain them to you. 1. To make it easy to use, CalculAID is designed only up to calculating 1 month at a time. This means that if you have a salary disputes for the month of January, February and March, you need to take the questionnaire 3 times, once for January, once for February and once for March. 2. To answer some of the questions, you may need to refer to some supporting documents, and so it is recommended that you have them ready with you before you start using CalculAID. They are your timesheet, your in-principle approval letter, your payslip, your employment contract or a proof of salary, and a valid email address that you use. Some of the questions have definitions and explanations to help you understand them better. If you're using a mobile phone, please scroll to the bottom of the page to see them. 4. CalculAID will take about 20 minutes to complete. Please answer the questions as accurately as possible to get the best results. 5. There will be a final calculation sheet generated at the end of CalculAID. You can use it to help you to come to a settlement with your employer or as a guide in your employment claim during mediation or at court. Please note that CalculAID is not a substitute for professional legal advice, and it is recommended that you seek professional legal advice when it comes to your claim. If you have read all these instructions and understand them, then you are ready to start using CalculAID. Click Start. This question asks if you have an employment contract or an in-principle approval letter. In order to file a valid claim for your salary dispute, you must have an employment contract or an IPA. If you do click No, you will be asked once again if you're sure about that answer. If you choose not to change your answer, CalculAID will end and you will not be able to claim for your salary dispute. If you want to use CalculAID again, you will have to start over. Alternatively, you can click Yes to change your answer and go back. The next question asks if you're claiming your salary from your employer. It is okay if you have not filed your claim yet, or if you're no longer working with that employer. More importantly, you need to know that you can only claim from your employer, meaning that if you're claiming from a third-party subcontractor, for example, you cannot use CalculAID for that claim. If you do click No to this question, you will be asked if you'd like to change your answer. If you proceed without changing your answer, CalculAID will end and you will not be able to claim for your salary dispute. If you want to use CalculAID again, you must start over. This question asks you if you are still employed by the employer you are claiming against. It is important that you answer this question accurately because there is a time limit on the claim based on your answer. There is an explanation box for this question, so if you're using a mobile device, please do scroll down. If you're still working with the same employer, you have 1 year after your dispute arose to claim. However, if you have left that employer, you must file for your claim within 6 months of the last date you worked there for a claim within 1 year of the date you're using CalculAID. This question asks if your work pass is still valid or if it has been cancelled. If you continued working even after your work pass has been cancelled, you will not be able to claim for your salary during that period. If you select Cancelled, you will be asked when your work pass was cancelled. This question is important. It asks you to select the category of your occupation. There is a tip box with definitions to help you understand which category you may fall under, so if you're using a mobile device, please scroll to the bottom. A workman refers to a blue-collar worker who is primarily involved in manual labor, like a construction worker or a plumber, for instance. A non-workman is often in an administrative position. It refers to a white-collar worker who is not in an executive or managerial position, like a receptionist or an administrative clerk. If your occupation does not fall under either workman, non-workman, executive or managerial positions, then you will have to select Others. Unfortunately, this means that your occupation type may not be covered by the Employment Act and you cannot use CalculAID to calculate your salary. You will be asked if you want to change your answer, but if you choose not to, the CalculAID process will end, and if you want to use CalculAID again, you will have to start over. Next, you will be asked for your basic monthly pay. Please refer to your IPA or your employment contract for this information. Since this figure will be used for all the other calculations, it is important that you answer this correctly. To help you understand the meaning of basic monthly pay better, there is a tip box. So if you're using a mobile device, please scroll to the bottom of the page. In this context, basic salary means the salary you receive excluding payment of overtime, bonus, annual wage supplement, productivity incentive payment, reimbursement for special expenses, and all allowances. To answer this question, you must enter the monthly amount you receive under the basic salary. To ensure that you answer this question correctly, you may wish to refer to your employment contract, in principle approval letter IPA, or any other supporting document. This question asks you about your fixed allowance. Again, to help you understand the meaning of allowance, there is a tip box with a definition. So if you're using a mobile device, please scroll to the bottom of the page. Allowance here refers to a fixed amount you receive every month that is not overtime pay, bonus payment, annual wage supplements, reimbursement of a special expense incurred in the course of employment, productivity incentive payments, travel, food, and housing allowances. If you do not receive any such monthly allowance, please answer with 0. This next question requires you to select your full work days, half days, and rest days. It is important that you answer this question accurately because it will form the base of the rest of the calculations. When you make your selections, select them based on your contract with your employer, not based on how long you actually work. For instance, if your contract says that Saturday is a half day, but in reality you often work a full day on Saturday, you must only select half day for Saturday because it is what your contract specifies. To ensure that your answer to this question is correct, you may wish to refer to your employment contract, in principle approval letter, or any other supporting document. If you don't work any half days, you can click no for that part of the question. This question asks you to indicate the number of working hours you're contracted to work and the break time you're given in hours. Again, answering this question accurately is very important, so do take note that working hours excludes break time and any overtime that you work. To ensure that you answer this question correctly, you may wish to refer to your employment contract, in principle approval letter, or any other supporting document. Next, this question asks you to select the year and month that you are not paid and you are claiming for salary. Do bear in mind that CalculAID can only calculate for 1 month at a time. So if you have a claim for 3 months, you need to go through CalculAID 3 times and select each month each round. There is also a tip box for this question about the time bars for your claim. So if you're using a mobile device, please scroll to the bottom. If you are still in employment with the same employer, you must make your claim within 1 year. However, if you have left that employer, you must file for your claim within 6 months of the last date you worked for them for a claim within 1 year that you are using CalculAID. Next, all 30 or 31 days of the month you selected will appear. You must select the days that you did not work at all in this month, regardless of it being a full working day, half day, or a rest day. Remember that you should only select the days where you worked 0 hours. It is important that you answer this question accurately, so please refer to your timesheet, payslip, or other supporting documents. Once you've selected the dates that apply, click Next. Now, this question asks you to input the start and end time of each of the days you worked. This includes overtime hours. For instance, if your contract specifies that your working hours are from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m., but on this particular day you worked from 8 a.m. to 10 p.m., you should input 8 a.m. to 10 p.m. Do note that you should write the time in the 24-hour format. So 8 a.m. will be 0800 and 10 p.m. will be 2200. Don't worry, your break time will be accounted for in the calculations. It is important that you answer this question accurately, so you may wish to refer to your timesheet, payslip, or other supporting documents. This question is asking you to select the days when you took unpaid leave. It is important that you answer this question accurately, so you may wish to refer to your timesheet, payslip, or other supporting documents. This next question will show you all the rest days that you have worked. Please select the rest days where your employer had asked you to work. Do not tick the days where you were the one who wanted to work. This next question asks if you have been paid any amounts of salary by your employer for the month that you're claiming for. So for instance, if you're claiming for the month of January 2020, and for January 2020, your boss paid you part of your salary, like only $500 instead of a $1,500, you need to enter $500. That $500 may be for your allowance, but none of your basic salary has been paid. Or that $500 could have been for your basic pay, but you did not receive any pay for overtime, rest day pay, or public holiday pay. Sometimes this breakdown is listed in your pay slip for the month, so you may wish to refer to it or any other supporting documents. If your payslip does not provide a breakdown or you have lost your payslip, then please fill in the amount you received, like the $500, into the basic pay section and $0 for the rest of the sections. If you did not receive any payment at all for that month, just put in 0 for all the sections. We are almost at the end. This question asks you to select the documents you used to support your previous answers in CalculAID. This serves as a reminder or a checklist as to what documents you may need. Once you are done selecting the documents you will be using to support your claim, click Next.
Now you will be presented with a transcript of all your inputs. It's important that you review all your answers and check for any errors. If there are any errors, you can click on the pencil icon to edit your answer. Do take note that if you edit question 9, for example, you will have to go back to question 9 again and continue the calculate process until you reach the end. This is to ensure that your calculations are accurate. You can click on the Access Later button on the top left-hand corner to send a link of this page to your email address. With this link, you can revisit this page at a time of your convenience. A copy of the transcript will be made available in the final calculation sheet, which you can download in the next step. If you have verified that all your answers are accurate, then you can proceed to download the final calculation sheet. Click on the button that says Final Calculation Sheet at the top or bottom of this page.
Here, you're at the final step. CalculAID has done all the calculations and it is ready for you to view. With this final calculation sheet, you can take it as a proof of your calculations for your salary dispute. You can use it to negotiate with your employer, to come to an agreement, or to use it as a guide during the compulsory mediation session at TADM, or to use it as a guide when you present your claim before the Employment Claims Tribunal, ECT. You can email the final calculation sheet to yourself, download it, or do both. To send it to your email, click Access Later and a copy of the final calculation sheet will be sent to your email. To download the calculation sheet, click the Download button and choose either Current Docs or Current PDF versions. This is the first page of the final calculation sheet. It clearly states the month for which these calculations were done, and in this case, January 2020. It contains important notices and reminders, so it's important that you read through them and understand them. 1. You must understand that this calculation is only arrived based on your inputs. It does not guarantee that this will be the sum awarded if the matter is heard before a judge. In such a case, it is the judge who has the authority to award you the final sum. 2. As mentioned before, there are time limits to when you can claim for your salary amount. A. If you're still employed, the claim must be filed within 1 year after the dispute arose. B. If you're no longer employed, the claim must be within 6 months from the last day of your work. C. If your work pass has been cancelled, you cannot claim for any salary beyond the date it was cancelled. D. Your limitation period is subject to changes depending on your mediation appointment date. 3. This calculator does not provide legal advice and it should not be relied on to do so. It provides information for you to consider a possible settlement. 4. Professional legal advice from a qualified lawyer will address your specific needs and situation.
The second page is a contents page. It tells you what you can expect to find in the report. In this case, a summary of the calculations, a detailed breakdown of the calculations, a guide on what next steps you can take, and at the very end of the definitions, key terms and a transcript of the answers you gave to CalculAID's questions.
The summary of the calculations starts off with a table that lets you see very clearly the breakdown of your salary earned in terms of basic pay, allowance, rest day pay, public holiday pay, overtime pay, and the aggregate total. The second column refers to the amounts you have earned based on your work arrangements and the actual number of hours you've worked this month. The next column is the salary paid by your employer, meaning that if your employer has given you some amount of money for the past month as part of your salary, it will be listed there and deducted to arrive at how much you can claim for. The last column on the right gives you a breakdown of the amounts you can claim for from your employer. These are the outstanding sums that you can file for and ask for your employer to pay you. The total value indicated at the bottom refers to the total amount you can claim for this month in your claim application. Then there is a detailed breakdown of the different rates of pay based on your work arrangement. Each type of pay comes with a formula that is then used to calculate it and an indication of the calculations used in your inputs before the value is shown. There is basic monthly pay, there is the basic rate of pay, the hourly basic rate of pay, the basic pay for this month, monthly gross pay, gross rate of pay, and gross pay for this month. This next section gives you a detailed breakdown of the different types of pay. It first states what you had put in, like which days you selected as having taken unpaid leave or worked overtime. It even says which questions you had set those answers in, so you can refer to the transcript to verify just in case. Finally, it states how much of that type of pay you're able to claim for this month. For example, if you stated that you worked 3 days overtime for this month, then based on your answers, your overtime pay of $90 will be stated under overtime pay. After you have looked through all the calculations and necessary explanations, you will see the final sum you can claim for this month, and you can proceed to look at the next steps if you decide to file a salary claim. We are now at the third section that gives you some guidance on what steps you can take regarding your claim. It explains to you the compulsory first step to legally file your salary dispute, which would be to register your claim at the Tripartite Alliance for Dispute Management, or TADM. It tells you the necessary information you need to know to register your claim at TADM, such as the maximum claim amount and the time limit. It tells you what you need to know for the mediation sessions at TADM, such as what to bring with you, how long you can expect the sessions to be, and how long the entire process might take. This detailed information continues for the next pages. It will serve you well to read them fully and familiarize yourself with the entire claim process. After that, there is a small table that explains the cost you can expect to pay for your claim. If you're a migrant worker and need more help for your claim, there is also a list of contact details of well-known non-governmental organizations that help migrant workers. Finally, we have come to the last section of the final calculation sheet that contains a glossary of the definitions that might help you understand the claim better. Do take note that these definitions are based on those provided in the Employment Act. One definition you may wish to make note of is the one relating to the days worked per week. According to the Employment Act, you cannot work more than 44 hours in a week. As such, even though your contract may require you to work for 8 hours a day for 6 days of the week, this means that you would have worked a total of 48 hours, and the CalculAID system will record your working days as having a half day on Saturday instead. This is to ensure that you stay within the Employment Act limit. So do not be alarmed when you see that some of your full Saturdays have been changed to half Saturdays.
As mentioned earlier, a transcript of all your answers is made available at the end here.
We have come to the end of the CalculAID process and this video guide. We hope it has been useful for you to understand the tool better, and we wish you all the best in your claim process. This video guide is brought to you by Legal Kaki, your friend in navigating the law.